I just want to go back to, Vice. I just want to, I am concerned because I've fished out in the Gulf of Mexico, and we're continually going further and further offshore. And the distance it takes to respond to particular accidents is a concern of mine. Of course, this particular accident, we all were lucky. The seas were calm. It was at a time when water temperatures were warming up. Do you feel that, again, the ability of the Damon Banks to respond, because I think the next vehicle closest to them was the Monica Ann. Is that correct?
I don't have the distance to the next closest vessel. There obviously, as you know, there are a number of vessels operating out there, but I can get that for you.
But the closer a vessel is to a platform under when we're having drilling operations, don't you agree that having those vessels there is a blanket of safety for those workers?
Sir, it's basically a time distance problem. Exactly. Right. The closer a vessel is, the quicker it can respond.
Mr. Dykes? Mr. Dykes?
No, I agree. The closer the vessel is, when you have vessels in near proximity to these facilities, it gives some comfort to those individuals on that rig or that platform that should they have to evacuate, they have a safe harbor to go to. From that standpoint, moving forward, I believe the next vessel was roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours away to the Deepwater Horizon.
Mr. Na, you want to?
Yes, sir. That's one of our recommendations is for the Coast Guard to look at requirement for standby vessel, and I believe the Commandant final agency memorandum agree with the intent of that recommendation, sir.
Okay, thank you. And before I yield to Mr. Flores, real quickly, I've always said that the greatest natural resource that we have in this country is not what lies beneath the waters or the soil, but the men and women along the Gulf Coast and elsewhere who ply such a dangerous trade. And would you agree that that's a fair statement, that at the end of the day, this is all about making sure that we give them not only as much protection, but also provide opportunities that if there is an accident, because we've heard from, like Mr. Dyke says, that we can't guarantee anything 100%, that we have a way to get those people safely home, and that because it had been a great day if we could have just discussed the environmental tragedy of this spill rather than having to add 11 lives that were lost there. Wouldn't you all agree with that?
Yes, sir, I do, and I think you can look at the Coast Guard philosophy on life preserver. We can't guarantee that nothing's going to happen, but we can give people a second chance, sir.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Mr. Dyke.
Now, the data indicates that, talking about resources, yeah, the personnel that work in the offshore industry are the greatest asset and greatest resource. From the voluntary submittal of operators to the agency, indicates that you have roughly anywhere between 30 and 35,000 people physically offshore for the industry. That does not include the service companies, the dockside facilities, and so forth that support that industry.